Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Noah, and I know it's been a while since I've posted almost any kind of video. I think it's probably been at least 3 weeks, maybe more than that. But I've had a lot of things going on, a lot of things that kind of take a little bit of time before I can show you guys. But I do want to kind of get into more of these normal, I don't want to say low effort videos, but some of these videos that that I do have some time to make. So in this video, I want to go over the total cost to actually own a house here in Austin, Texas. And I'm going to go over, the listing price for my house, the cost that I actually bought it at, and go over basically all of the expenses that are associated basically to just keep everything running on a day-to-day basis. As always, I hope you can take something away from this video, and with that being said, let's get right into it. I think the first thing that people are really curious about when looking at homes or determining if a home is kind of right for them at their current point in life is, of course, the mortgage. There's all of these different mortgage calculators. There's this, there's that, there's online. You can talk to people, you can talk to some of the salespeople and so on. But this is really important, right? Because this is the amount that you are going to be paying for a very long time. 30 years if you go with a standard 30-year loan, which is what I am on currently with this home right here. So I guess the best way to do it would be to give some of the details about the home to start. So before I get into the actual mortgage. So this home I purchased for, I think it was like $380,000 or $385,000. I didn't put down 20%. I put down maybe 5% just because I didn't really want to put down that much money. And the difference that it makes isn't that noticeable, if I'm being quite honest. So that was a decision that I made personally. And the interest rate that I have on my mortgage is right at 6%, maybe 5.9, something like that, which is not that good, if I'm being honest with you. I have, there were a period of maybe like a year and a half back in 2020, 2021, where mortgage rates were like 2.5%. It would have been great to get into a home at that point, but the cards didn't play out that way. So I'm at 6% just about in this home, which makes my mortgage payment on a monthly basis right about $3,100. And this is going to include insurance and some of those other miscellaneous cost taxes that go into escrow, which are then paid for basically on my behalf because I didn't put 20% down. That's just something that's just the way it worked in this case. But that's a decent number, right? I guess I never thought that. I guess it was hard to believe that I would be paying that much for a mortgage, but it is just something. It's just kind of the price that it is what it is, right? You don't want to move into a one-bedroom shack just to get kind of a cheaper mortgage, right? You want to actually be in something that you can add value to, that's going to appreciate over time, and that was kind of my goal with this house here. So now I want to move into some of the other essential expenses that you're going to see that I wrote down right here. Now, I do want to clarify, I have not lived in this home for an entire calendar year yet, so I don't have an entire year's worth of data to share, but I do have like 4 months, 5 months for 4 or 5 months for specific things, depending on what they are. So one of the first things that I'm going to talk about is the electricity that you're going to pay being in a house, really. And to be honest, I didn't think it would be this. I thought it would be worse. If I'm being candid with you, I did a average of 4 or 5 months for since I moved in, which was late January, and my average over that course has been $50. Which is pretty surprising considering, once things got pretty warm here in Texas, I basically had my AC going all day, every day, right? Granted, it turns on and turns off depending on, the time and day and so on, but it was basically left on, right? And I work from home, so I've got computers going all day. I use the dishwasher, I use the washing machine, I have power tools that I use that I charge and so on. And throughout that entire time, the average remained at $50 for each month. Now, one of the other expenses that is very crucial, goes kind of hand in hand with your electricity, is your water. This is pretty self-explanatory, right? You're going to use it for showers, you're going to use it for gardening, to wash the car, to wash your dishes, to run your washing machines, and all of that kind of stuff. And this isn't actually that bad either. Throughout now granted, right now at this point, it is just me in the house really showering for the most part. And I try not to take, really long showers or a lot of baths or anything like that. And my average for these 4 to 5 months was $58. So that's actually not too bad either. That actually seems cheaper than what it was when I was at an apartment, which seems a little bizarre because I've done just a lot more with water since I've been in. But that has been that's my average water bill on a monthly basis. Another thing that I just thought of was I actually have 2 refrigerators that run pretty much all the time. This is kind of going back to my electricity bill, and how, the average is really only $50 per month. But I have, when I do think about it, I have quite a few appliances running, in the house and garage in this case, basically all day, every single day. So now that $50 actually doesn't seem that bad. Now, the next thing is gas. Not all houses are going to have this. I think there's maybe somewhat of a push to move everything to electric, right? Because you technically can. But I do have a gas furnace, so my heating is actually gas powered, right? So there's a pilot light that basically stays lit year round, and when I do need heat, it'll basically ignite a bunch of flames, and then that warm air will make its way through the house. I also have a gas water heater, right? So there's a same thing there. There's a flame lit there. There's a gas line connected to the water heater, and that is what basically keeps the water warm for me, on a day-to-day basis. And the bill for my gas actually isn't that bad either. Obviously, it does depend on what specific month we're talking about, but over the 4 or 5 months that I've kind of looked at an average for, I had a average gas bill of $60 per month. Now I do recall it being over 100 in some of the colder months, right? Because then you're running your furnace all the time. You're taking even hotter showers, so you're using a lot more hot water and that kind of stuff. But overall, $60 per month isn't too bad of a charge for gas. Now, one of the last things that I'm going to mention as a essential is I guess you could potentially get by without it, but not in my case, because like I said, I am work from home, right? So I have multiple computers that are running basically day in and day out, and I also do a lot of stuff online. So this expense is my Wi-Fi, and the prices on this are not fluctuating, generally speaking. You can find different deals through different companies, and there's a bunch of different options, but the option that I went with is just through Spectrum, right? They have like a promotion 1 year for $70 a month, and then you get 1 gig up, 1 gig down, something like that. So my Wi-Fi bill, basically, which is nowadays it's kind of like your cable bill too, because everything has kind of moved to streaming and so on, is $70 per month. So my Wi-Fi is actually the biggest a non-mortgage expense out of the entire, out of my entire list here. So now, when you look at everything put together, right? You look at my mortgage, you look at my my water, electricity, gas, and my my Wi-Fi, pardon me, which are kind of the fundamental parts of your home, right? You're not going to live without electricity. You're not going to be able to get by without paying your mortgage and so on. My grand total is $3,338, right? That is that's my grand total for everything, just to kind of keep things afloat. That does include, like I said, the insurance and stuff, because that is wrapped up within my mortgage, for this time being. But it's a decent amount, right? Over $3,000, almost $3,500, for everything is, it's a decent chunk of change. But the way that I have really changed after getting into a house is my work ethic really has gotten quite a bit better, and I guess that maybe comes with taking care of something that's so expensive, right? Because when I look at my net worth at this point, it's not ideal, right? Because I have this huge mortgage under my name, and I actually have a couple other mortgages, under my name, in a different state. So it's a lot. It's kind of a chunk, right? So you might be thinking, sitting there thinking, well, that's a lot for, just to keep things running. It doesn't include food. It doesn't include like your car insurance, car maintenance, your gym membership, all of those other, your haircuts, all of that stuff, that would be considered kind of essential expenses. But it is good, right? It does kind of put the pressure on you to chase more, right? Because if you're given a bill of over $3,000 to just keep your life going, it's kind of incentivizing for you to go beyond that. So then maybe instead of having $1,000 left over, for example, you'll have $1,500 or $2,500 or something like that. So although the amount just to kind of keep the lights on, so to speak, in the with owning a house here is a chunk of change, I do think it is kind of one of the best things that one of the best decisions that I've made. Although it might not seem like it financially, I am pretty confident that this will be not only a good investment for my life, my personal development, and all of those kind of things, but also financially as well in the long run. I think one of the biggest things that I've learned since taking on this endeavor and really just like jumping in with something so stressful, and so just kind of scary in many ways, is that life isn't always about you guys kind of know, if you've seen a lot of my videos, I am big on personal finance and investing and how important the two of them are, and all of yada 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 basically. But there's a lot of things in life that we need to do just because they're fun, right? And one thing that I can confidently say after being in this house, for right around 4 months, 5 months at this point, is that I have had so much fun, right? I've done a lot of work in the yard. I'm continuing to do stuff in the yard because I want to create, this perfect space. I have built furniture, right? I built my table back there. I built an outdoor table. I built a media console that goes underneath the TV, which is right here. I built this. I had a friend, help me bring it in, and then I set it up. There's lights underneath, all of those cool things. And there's so many more different small things and even large things that I want to do around the house that are going to create it, that are going to help make it into a place where I feel completely at home, and I think that's not something that you can really get with an apartment, right? Because or if you're living at your parents' house, because it's not really yours, right? So here I can, I've converted the garage into my woodworking space and kind of my engineering space where I work on different projects and all of those types of things. And I have a space to make stuff. I have a space to be myself and to make it into an environment that I really, really like. And you can't really get that by renting, for example, or by being in your parents' house. But there you have it. Those are going to conclude all of the expenses that are associated with owning a home here in Austin, Texas. In this case, my own personal example right here. I do intend on recording more videos, upcoming here. I've just had, a lot of different things going on, but I think some of the next ones are going to be really, really cool. So I am kind of excited for those. But as always, I hope you were able to take something away from this video here, and I hope to see you again sometime soon.